Well, hi, Grian. I'm kidding, he's not actually here. But I am midway through testing out the whole attribute swapping debacle. If you have no idea what I'm talking about with attribute swapping, it is a beautiful thing in Minecraft that every single competitive PvPer knows about and almost certainly uses to some degree.
Everything I say online, I need to make sure this is not a promise. I don't know, the one that I know about, which is shooting with a bow and getting looting, right? Switching to your swords to get looting, for example. And we talked about it and we decided to not fix it at that time. It doesn't mean we'll never fix it. At that time, we decided this is quite a weird, quirky, fun Minecraft thing. I will say that breach swapping is so much stronger than that. We don't have plans of fixing it right now, but it might get fixed in the future, probably as part of a bigger balancing thing, not just by itself.
But I am now in the latest pre-release and I can safely say something has gone wrong. Let me show you what I've been doing. So let's downgrade back to 26.1.2. This has nothing to do with the snapshots. I have a netherite spear in my hand that has lunge 3, and I have a full stack of wind charges. So this is regular behavior of lunge 3. I'm just moving forward. I have saturation here just to make it a little easier to showcase. It's really not that big of a debuff in the grand scheme of things with this. Now I also have a wooden spear with the same enchantment, lunge 3, and you can see the cooldown isn't that bad. So the netherite spear does have a significant attack cooldown of over 1 second. However, if you do something called attribute swapping, you can chain lunge attacks by applying the attack speed of the wind charge or anything else that you switch back to. And you can perfect this technique by doing it over and over and over again. And this is absolutely a fundamental skill that needs to be learned if you want to be competitive in PvP. Now, I'm not that great at it. I'm not really a PvPer, but one thing I do know is game mechanics. And I, for one, know that this is not meant to be a feature in the game, but because it's been utilized so frequently in the PvP space, you can see why there has been such major uproar in the last several days. Now, this is only a lunge example. Now, I have a Grian in a boat that I'm transporting out. This Grian has full netherite armor, unenchanted, and you can see the health here on the right side. Now, I have a mace and a sword in my hopper. This mace has breach 4, which is an enchant which partially ignores armor protection. Now, regular attacks with the netherite sword on Grian here does about 3 health of damage, which is 1.5 hearts. But the positive thing with the sword is that it's got reasonably fast attack speed, and we can exploit that. Now, with the mace, which takes a long time because it's heavy, with breach 4, I'm doing 3 hearts of damage, which is a lot more than the sword. However, it takes a long time for it to recoil. We're talking 1.5 seconds versus half a second. This is 20 game ticks of speed we're losing. So now let's hold the sword, thereby applying that attack speed, and we're going to immediately swap to the mace, which has breach 4 on it. Now, this is going to happen very quickly. He's going to die pretty fast, so we're going to give him a totem here. And now watch this. If you don't know what's going on here, I'm switching to the mace to apply breach 4 and then going back to the sword right afterwards. It is an insane, insane technique that, if learned and mastered, completely changes the way that Minecraft is played. This has been known for a long, long time. I fenced in a cow here, and I've got a spear in my hand. As you know, spears have an attack range of 4.5 blocks, while maces and every other weapon has 3. So why not do the same thing with attribute swapping, thereby switching from the spear to the mace, which has fire aspect, and you can see immediately, I'm hitting the cow from 4.5 blocks away with my mace. Given all of these techniques, which is not hard to learn, although difficult to master in more situational circumstances, there are many ways you can apply this. This is just scratching the surface with attribute swapping. So now we're going to go back to live footage here with Grian in front of me. We're going to re-health the guy. While that's happening, I have my wind charges here, lunge 3. This is the one technique I think everyone should learn. Otherwise, lunge 3 is pretty much redundant unless you have a wooden spear. But in any case, we're going to do the same thing. I think we'll switch out the sword here first. So this is a regular sword hit. Again, 3 health. So now, let's attribute swap from the sword to the mace. Here we go. It does not apply breach 4 to the sword. As you can see right here, it does the same amount of health, about 3, and not double, which is about 6. Breach swapping has been disabled. Okay, let's try the wind charges with the spear. Here we go. We're gonna... I don't seem to be moving. I don't know. I'm not that bad. Not moving. I'm not moving. So I don't have to try this too much because I know there's actually been removed. I've seen tons of footage from like Intel edits. This is a pretty big deal. I've done this a lot myself too. I've been on the receiving end of this. I take a pretty keen interest in patch notes, so I kind of do follow what's been fixed. I have not seen this myself in the patch notes, but we'll go through that in a second. There's one other thing we have to discuss. So the third and final example we've got here is the spear and the mace with the fire aspect. So we get our cow over there. We cannot hit with the mace. You can see that the crosshair does disappear. All right. So now we're just going to hit and swap to the mace. I do not see that cow on fire. All right, so let's see what the snapshots have said about pre-release 2. Okay, so it's worth noting that the fixed bugs listed here aren't necessarily all of the bugs fixed in that pre-release. We have to do some digging to figure out what's going on. So there's a bug report for this whole issue right now. Cannot perform attribute swapping. Effective version, the current version pre-release 2. Resolution cannot reproduce. I'm not sure why they can't reproduce it. I mean, there's kind of like mental arithmetic that needs to be done here. You can't reproduce something that doesn't exist in the game anymore, so obviously you can't reproduce it. But this is now resolved. It cannot be reproduced. These two are resolved as well as duplicates. So guys, this is the headline act. MC28289. This is a very old bug dating all the way back to Minecraft 1.6.2. This is a 5-digit bug report created in 2013. So this has presumably lasted in the community for about 13 years. It's been confirmed as a bug and it's tagged as important by Mojang. However, notice what's going on here. Resolution, none. Fixed versions, none. Resolved, unresolved. But not they're not working, can't lunge. Now the big question is, how do I feel about this? If this bug is truly fixed, I think there needs to be a replacement function or an alternative. Ah, we're in the future now. Welcome to Snapshot 26.2 pre-release 3. I can cut my analysis short there because I don't think it really matters anymore, because I think Mojang have made their intentions very clear, which is good in terms of communication, but also kind of rough for the community if you want to interpret it in a certain way. So what we're going to do is create a world in the latest pre-release. Oh, wow. You're joking. That's incredible. This is literally a village house inside a creaking forest. Oh, that's nuts. All right, there's our spear, wind charge. I'm gonna hotbar that. So let's try this. Looks pretty good. It appears that they have reverted the fix. Now you might think, oh my god, glory days. Nah, I've got news for you. With today's pre-release, we are reverting a fix that is patched an exploit known as attribute swapping for unrelated reasons. Now I have my speculations on what that fix was. I don't think it really matters anymore, but it's pretty clear to me that the fact that the main bug report does not mark attribute swapping as fixed means they never really intended to fix it in the first place. I have seen some misconceptions about how resolved works here and people thinking that they've just resolved it here. What resolved here actually means is that they don't need to pay attention to this bug report because it's a duplicate or it's just incomplete. Please note that this does not mean attribute swapping is a supported functionality. It will instead be fixed in a future snapshot. So I interpret it as this. This thing that you're seeing here, I think it's time for a lot of us to not get used to this too much anymore. Unless you want to stick with PvP servers on older versions, I think Mojang are cooking something in the background that might rewrite the entire PvP system. Or they're really just getting rid of this full stop. Mojang historically have been known to keep bugs as features. We know this through breaking bedrock, TNT duping, quasi-connectivity. There are a lot of examples. I don't know where this sits, but it seems like from this pre-release, Mojang are preparing to get rid of it entirely. While I was recording this video yesterday, there was a feedback page online titled "Revert the changes on attribute swapping." This is no longer there. It may have been removed, as it may not be necessary to exist anymore. I personally think attribute swapping creates an entirely new dimension to PvP. It's an insane tech, but I gotta be honest, I don't think it's really in line with how Minecraft is meant to work. But in saying that, its removal really does suck. So whatever Mojang are planning in the background, I really hope they continue their good habits of communicating with us. With this latest pre-release, they have done so, and that should be applauded. And so while we should probably prepare for this mechanic to be removed entirely, there may be some hope that perhaps they are working on something to replace it. And just maybe, it could be better.